Thank you, Senator Chairman Shelby, and let me just say, I think there's good bipartisan support, and Senator Shelby's trying to proceed in the direction so we don't have any more of these CRs, and we do our bills on time, and that's what we're working towards. Thank you both for your service. I had a very good visit yesterday with General Milley. You've got a very thoughtful Chief of Staff there, Mr. Secretary. He's thought about a lot of the big issues, I think, over the years. He's a good one to have, I think.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk a little bit about White Sands Missile Range. It's the largest overland military installation in the country. It's larger than the state of Rhode Island. While it's primarily an Army post, it also provides support for all the military branches, as you all know. Yet it is currently an Army post with a relatively non-existent Army presence because the engineering battalion that previously made it home cased their colors and left the base. They left behind empty barracks and other facilities such as a 17,750 square foot headquarters building with 23 offices, 6 company headquarters, and one 65,000 square foot building, battalion level dining room, a vehicle maintenance shop, and 1 parade field and a segregated parking lot. Mr. Secretary, you've stated that an important part of the Army's effort to maintain the readiness of the Army's BCTs for major combat operations is the Security Force Assistance Brigade, or the SFAB, and you've requested congressional support to man, train, and equip 6 SFABs, 5 in the regular Army and 1 in the Army National Guard. Can you provide an update on the Army's request to consider White Sands Missile Range as a basing location for a Security Force Assistance Brigade?
Yes, sir. As you noted, we plan on fielding 6 SFABs, 5 in the active component. 2 already exist, 1 at Fort Benning, 1 at Fort Bragg, and we will make a decision very soon on the remaining 3. And we use a process by which to do that called the Military Value Analysis Model with regard to looking at objective criteria by which we would make that decision with some other criteria as well, given that the SFABs are unique. But I will tell you that I had a chance to visit White Sands a couple months ago. I had a very good visit. Had a chance to not only talk to the folks about their mission there with regard to testing, but to also take a look around those facilities that you described, and they are very good facilities, and it brought to mind the importance of keeping that in mind as we consider not just SFABs, but anything else out there in the Army, because it is space that is available. So again, we'll make a decision here fairly soon with regard to the basing of these SFABs, the locations.
Great. Thank you very much, and I hope the Army puts these facilities to good use and finds a mission at White Sands soon. How will increased emphasis on research and development in the overall budget impact White Sands Missile Range? Do you envision an increase in tests or other activities at the range? How does the Army intend to keep the range's facilities up to date and in good working order to facilitate R&D defense-wide?
Senator, I will tell you of the 6 modernization priorities, what comes to mind immediately are number 1, which is long-range precision fires, and then probably our other one, which is air and missile defenses. Certainly on the first one, will demand a lot of testing. One of the strategic systems we hope to build is a cannon that can shoot hundreds of miles, either with a traditional type of round or a hypersonic, and I imagine, I'm speculating right now, that White Sands would be the place where we would do a good deal of that testing. The same would be true as we continue to develop air and missile defense platforms that are mobile, that can keep up with our maneuver forces.
General Milley, did you have any?
Yeah, exactly. The Secretary had long-range precision fires. There's also opportunities for to do some of the range firing for future vertical lift when that comes online, and then ballistic missile defense. As you're aware, Senator, you know, the combination of Fort Bliss and its adjacent White Sands Missile Range, that's the largest training area for military forces in the world. And you can fire every ordnance in the United States inventory short of nuclear weapons at that facility. So it's a great facility, it's a great testing ground, and we will maximize its use as we develop our modernization program and those pieces of equipment and kit get into the testing phase.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. The Air Force and the Navy are both looking at how the proliferation of new technologies will impact their dominance in the air and sea respectively, especially regarding artificial intelligence, How is the Army addressing artificial intelligence? How will AI change how the Army does business or impact the balance of power if, for example, China acquires AI technologies first? And address to either one of you.
Mentioned and have spoken several times on the changing character of war, and that can be driven by a variety of things, demographics, social change, doctrines, etc. But technology is often one of those things that drives changing character of war and how armies fight. And I've used the term the mother of all technologies when referring to artificial intelligence. We are investing, we the Army are investing monies into artificial intelligence as well as the Navy and Air Forces, along with the broader DoD. It's a critical technology that has a lot of moral, ethical, and legal implications that need to be thought through. But the artificial intelligence in combination with robotics could represent a very, very, very fundamental change in the conduct of warfare. And I believe, my estimation is, that those technologies are likely to see widespread use by military forces in the not-too-distant future, defined as 10, 15, 20 years, something like that. Some technologists would argue that it's much closer in time. Others would say much further in time, but my personal estimation, it's in that range. 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to see widespread use of artificial intelligence, machine learning in combination with robotics on the battlefields of the future.
And Senator, I would just add, it's
Please.
part of our modernization strategy that we sent up a couple weeks back, speaks to the vision of fielding our future combat vehicles, our next generation of combat vehicles that are either fully autonomous, semi-autonomous, or fully manned as they are now. And what that does is could give us a lot greater capabilities, flexibility on the battlefield. It could make our soldiers less vulnerable, depending on how you employ them. It could speed our decision-making. So there is a great deal of promise, as the Chief has outlined, and it could change the character of warfare.
Really appreciate those answers, and I know Senator, my chairman is here, so I'm going to submit the rest of my questions for the record. Thank you.